Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I am Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to be talking about this week's TV news and anything else that came up this week.
Was there anything else?
We did Riverdale, that was a new show. That started this week. You can check that out, the review of that's up. But that's pretty much it, there wasn't a whole lot of channel-specific stuff. Although we do have a new movie show starting next week.
Next week already? Jeez.
Yeah, next week's February.
I forgot how far into the month we are.
Yeah, me and Connor are going to be reviewing old movies. Well, I say old. Reviewing non-new releases, essentially. They're kind of like already cancelled as old TV shows. It's just an excuse to watch some old movies and talk about them. And it's called 121 in Flux, which is the sister show to our new movie review show, 1.21 Gigawatts, that I do normally with Matt. And that'll be starting next week, so you can look forward to it. But yeah, let's just get straight into the news, because there's a lot of it. And what's funny is, you know how I usually do the like all the kind of I put all the stuff at the start that's like renewals, cancellations, castings, that kind of stuff, and then it's all the new comedy shows, then all the new dramas, and that's kind of how I structure it. There's only one thing before we get to new shows.
But there's more news than normal in general.
Yeah, there's a lot of new shows. You see, Connor, we're right in what we call the pilot season, and in the sense that they're all ordering pilots, so there's a lot of pilot orders. There's very few of these new shows that are, because you often will say, oh, something's in development or something's, being looked into. Most of these are just pilot order. Now, there are some of them that we've spoken about before. Like, there's even one or two from last week, I think, that were just in development last week, and now this week we've got a pilot. So,
well, that moved quick.
Yeah, those moved quick. But anyway, first up, before we get to those, just one thing. You remember the show that's coming on ABC in the summer called Somewhere Between? This is the one where the mother knows that her daughter's going to die. She doesn't know how, when, or what, but she knows it's going to happen, and she's trying to stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10-episode summer show. Well, they've cast Paula Patton in the lead for that show, which is pretty cool. I like her. I know her mainly from the fourth Mission Impossible movie, but so that's cool. I thought it was a cool bit of casting. But there you go. That's all the news that isn't new shows.
I saw the Game of Thrones. Apparently, the date leaked as June 25th when that'll be returning. It's not been confirmed yet, but that's where it's like a fairly reliable source that's got a lot of stuff in the past.
You saying that reminded me. I kept seeing news about someone from Game of Thrones being cast in Shadowhunters, but I thought it wasn't in our wheelhouse. So to
I
speak.
didn't see this at all, so I don't know who it was. But
I couldn't even tell you. I can't remember. It was just some guy's face that I don't know. But
narrows it down.
Yeah, but we don't care about Shadowhunters. Anyway, pilot orders. Comedies up first, and there's a lot of comedies, so let's do this. NBC, and there's a lot of NBC here. So this is coming from Mindy Kaling, who's producing, and she'll also have a recurring role. Not a regular role, but that makes sense because the Mindy Project's still a thing.
I'm pretty sure we've heard about this one already.
We've heard about it, but it wasn't a pilot order.
No, that's what I mean. Like just as you mentioned a minute ago, we've heard about a lot of these before. I already remember this one vaguely.
Yeah. Untitled so far. It's a single camera comedy. It centers on Vince, a charismatic gym owner with no ambition who lives with his younger brother Michael, a gorgeous idiot. Their simple life of women and working out is put on hold when the teenage son of Vince is dropped off on their doorstep by Priya, one of his old high school flings.
Sounds all right. I mean, I like Mindy Kaling.
Yeah, it's just fine. Let's move on. I have nothing to say about this one.
Yeah.
So it sounds fine. We did technically talk about this before, but it's got a pilot order. Next up, I remember talking about this one as well, actually. NBC have ordered a pilot for the Sackett sisters, which includes Tina Fey in the producer list, so that's why you should perhaps care. Single camera comedy about the Sackett family, which is reunited when two estranged sisters perform an act of public heroism and are forced to navigate the aftermath together.
Yeah, I remember this one as well.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure what this act of heroism would be that would be so interesting to set this up.
Because it sounds like they do an act of heroism and then they get like fame from it, maybe. And
that's what it feels like. Yeah.
But I don't. It's vague. I'm glad they named this one. Oh, that's a good point. We never did our game with the last one, Untitled.
No, I didn't. Weights and women.
bench pressing like 100 pounds. What does a kid weigh? I don't know.
I don't know. Probably not. I have no idea. I don't know how much I weigh, let alone how much a kid weighs.
Yeah, right. There's a lot of Untitled ones though, so we can play that again. There's
some of them always just jump at us, and
all right. Here's one that I don't remember ever hearing about before. NBC have ordered a pilot for Spaced Out, which single camera comedy, and it's workplace comedy. It centers on a working class genius and his struggles to fit in with an established team, all made more difficult when their job is building a rocket to Mars. So this is a workplace comedy set in NASA, basically.
Yeah.
And there's a new guy who's comes from a more working class background, and he's the odd one out.
It sounds fine. I mean, workplace comedy, hit or miss, depending on all the stuff we always say. Characters, writing.
Yeah, I think it's a decent enough idea. I don't think I've ever watched a comedy set at some place like NASA. I don't know if it's specifically NASA. I'm just saying NASA because it's the obvious thing to go to.
Yeah.
They might have a fake company or something that's doing it. Alright, here's another one. NBC has ordered a lot of NBC, I told you.
They're getting ambitious this year.
NBC have ordered a pilot to What About Barb?
Not that Barb, right?
Not that Barb. No, nothing to do with Stranger Things. No, it's actually based on a movie starring Bill Murray called What About Bob, but they've changed it to Barb, and it follows a psychotherapist who tries to cut ties with her most overbearing patient, but is unsuccessful and gains an annoying new family member in the process.
Sounds alright.
Yeah, it sounds kind of wacky. You got this person who's kind of forced their way into the family life, but you imagine that since it's a comedy and it's probably going to not be that dark, it'll probably more of a heartwarming thing where the psychiatrist kind of accepts it and welcomes him.
Yeah, it might be kind of over the top ridiculous sort of thing.
Yeah. I'm almost getting like a plane, trains and automobiles kind of vibe where you've got this wacky character who just doesn't go away and they learn to bond with them anyway kind of thing. That's what it feels
just
like.
Really persistent.
I'm saying all this, of course. I've never seen the movie What About Bob?
Neither.
So I probably should. It's Bill Murray, and I like Bill Murray. But
well, there's one for Influx, isn't
Yeah.
there?
All right. Next up, NBC's ordered a pilot from Seth.
This is not looking good for Powerless if they're looking at this many pilots.
What's a pilot from Seth Meyers? So it's a untitled single camera pilot. It's described as focusing on a hilariously cynical Ivy League professor who loses out on his dream job and goes to work as a high school biology teacher, where he imposes his unorthodox teaching style and uses the kids to plot his revenge against those who wronged him. That last part made that interesting.
Professor Vengeance.
It was okay. I mean, it was okay. Like, disgruntled science guy going back to like a crappy high school job from his better job. But then that last part, he uses the kids to plot revenge.
Sounds great.
No, man, this sounds like School of Rock mixed with Breaking Bad.
It does.
I'm into
the
it.
Two things that came to mind for me as well. Like I said, calling it Professor Vengeance.
Professor Vengeance you're going with.
Yeah. You got anything better?
Uh,
You really want to one-up it. I can see it.
Action and reaction. It's a chemistry thing for every.
Yeah, but this is biology.
Okay, survival of the fittest. Fine.
I'll allow it. I want you to be relevant to the field at topic.
I want a sciencey one. Although that said, I can see it being. As much as I hate using names, I can see it being called Mr. and then whatever his last name is, and I think that would work.
Yeah, it probably would.
I hate when they use first names. I think first names are bad for titles of shows, but Mr. something would work.
That's why I kind of went with Professor. It's the same sort of thing as Mr.
Yeah, but you went pulpy and went Professor Vengeance.
Yeah, have fun with it. Tell me that this is a stupid and ridiculous premise in the title.
All right. NBC has ordered an untitled comedy Dear. So yeah, it comes from the showrunner of Fresh Off the Boat. Um, so yeah, it's based on Courtney Kang, who's producing it. It's based on her real life. It's a single camera comedy. It explores what it's like to grow up as the only girl or the only mixed race family in the suburbs of Philadelphia, dealing with real world issues like race and gender, while never losing focus of a real goal to become a Laker girl, like her idol, Paula Abdul. Yeah, we did talk about this one before.
This last week, surely.
I think this was last week, you're right. It feels like last week.
And we tried to do a title then, and you just wanted to make an Always Sunny reference.
That's right. But it's been ordered to pilot this week, so we really should make an extra effort to title this one.
You mean like all the others?
I know, they've been very lazy this year. Look at this. This is like, what, the third or fourth untitled show so far?
I know. Come on, NBC. Get your shit together.
I keep trying to think of something that's to do with being mixed race, and all of them sound really dodgy.
It does, doesn't it?
I was like, can I put something in front of the word smoothie and make it sound like a fun play on like mixing things together? And I can't.
No. That it feels like it's going to be an edgy title, or it'll be like something completely generic. It'll be one or the other.
I'm seeing generic. I can see it being the family name or something. Just the
play it safe. Yeah.
NBC has ordered a pilot called Happy Peppers, which is a multi-camera comedy, which I think is the only one here that's been multi-camera so far, and it's coming from the creator, or the co-creator of Will and Grace. Happy Peppers is about the adult brother and sister who wind up living together for the first time since they were kids after one of them suffers a big loss. They become each other's wingman, shoulder to cry on, best friend and punching bag as they navigate love, loss and work while helping to get each other unstuck. Pretty typical comedy setup. I mean, you got brother and sister who love and hate each other at the same time, forced to live with each other because of circumstances.
Yeah, it's kind of pretty typical, isn't it?
It's pretty typical, but at the same time, it usually works. Like,
it does. There's a reason it's so overdone, because it is just very relatable for a lot of people, and just works.
And I'm going to assume that Pepper is the family name, because it's called Happy Peppers.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
Unless there's some deep meaning that I don't know. But you'll be happy to know that's finally the last comedy pilot from NBC. We're moving on to Fox.
That was about, what, 6 or 7?
Oh god, it's across multiple pages on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7 comedy pilots from NBC this week.
Man, they're going for it this year.
Yeah, a lot of them. Alright, so Fox has ordered the comedy pilot called Ghosted. We heard about this a while ago. I remember this because of the stars.
Yeah, I remember it, yeah.
Craig Robinson, Adam Scott. It's described as a comedy version of X-Files. And Robinson's the skeptic. The true believer is Adam Scott. And they are recruited by the Bureau Underground to look into a rampant and unexplained activity in Los Angeles, all while uncovering a larger mystery that could threaten the existence of the human race.
Yeah, we definitely spoke about this one before, but I like the pair of them.
Yeah,
it's got a good premise.
Yeah, good cast, decent idea.
A relatively unique premise as well, which often comedies don't really have. They kind of like it's a workplace, it's very.
It's a workplace or it's a family.
It's very something you can just relate to, just day to day. But this is a bit more out there, a bit more potentially
And to be
fun.
fair, sometimes these more out there ones can just fail because it's harder to make them.
Because they live and die on the premise rather than anything else. Yeah.
Now, Fox has done another comedy pilot as well this week. It's called Linda from HR, or Lind from HR, as Variety has typoed in their article. But it's
Good
Linda.
Start.
And Linda from HR is described as a single-camera comedy focusing on the title character. Well, duh. All it takes is one bad decision to throw Linda from HR's monotonous, unfulfilled life into an exciting but dangerous tailspin of balancing work, life, home, and a secret that could unravel everything.
Honestly, I'm not interested in this unless they tell me what the secret is. Like, if it's...
Well, see, here's the thing. I think the obvious choice is that it's an affair with someone, which is boring. What's far more interesting to me, because she works in HR, is if she's killed someone, because it's the most inhumane thing.
That's what I went to. Oh, she's a killer. Something's gone on. Like, even if it was an accident.
That can make it fun. But again, workplace comedy, but you've got this extra little spin on it where
I think it feels just very standard, except if they told me what the secret was, I'd be far more interested, I think.
Well, hopefully we'll find out at some point.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're shifting over networks again to ABC, who's got probably not as many as NBC, but they've got a few here. From my
More than
glance.
Fox.
More than Fox. They've ordered a pilot called Startup, which is funny because there was a show last year that started called Startup, but that was all one word. This is 2 words.
Right, okay.
And this is a comedy. Single camera. And Zach Braff is producing and is in it, and he plays an inquisitive journalist, husband and father, who dives headfirst into the brave new world of entrepreneurship when he quits his stable job and starts his own business.
Not that big on Zach Braff.
Me neither. I think we've mentioned before our dislike of Scrubs based on our dislike of Zach Braff. So if you like Zach Braff, I'm sure this is exciting news.
For us, not so much.
I'm good. All right, sticking with ABC, we got an untitled pilot here. Comes from various people. Probably the most notable is one of the Hamilton stars from Broadway, David Diggs, is involved in the making of this. It's single camera. It's about an outspoken, idealistic rapper who runs for office as a publicity stunt and actually gets elected, and then surprising everyone, including himself, when he has a natural knack for the job and slowly transforms City Hall.
Well, some of this feels very current.
It does, yeah. I could see it being fun. It could be someone who maybe is maybe not immature, but someone who certainly didn't think about these issues, and he's just doing it because it even says it's a publicity stunt. Yeah. So I'm thinking it's a journey of self-discovery and realising that he can make a difference in a way that he didn't before. So even though it's a comedy, and I can see it being quite funny because they bring him things to do.
Fish out of water.
Fish out of water, and he's like, what the hell does this mean, and so on. I can see it actually being kind of a heartwarming story of like him finding himself, which could be cool.
Yeah, I'm kind of down for this one.
Yeah, so it's a nice idea. I mean, it could also be painfully unfunny, and therefore we just instantly drop it. But it's a decent enough idea from the get-go. Sticking with ABC, another... that was Untitled, huh?
Oh, was it?
Yeah, that was Untitled. We didn't have a title for that one.
Oh. What position did he apply for that he went on, did it say?
It just says runs for office. It doesn't say what his exact title is.
Right, I was thinking maybe mayor, if it was City Hall and he's in charge of a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. I feel like they're going to make a really weird sort of rap version. Like they're going to call it City Hall for Life with a 4 or something. Like something like.
Oh yeah.
Or I don't know. Something that looks like a rap lyric, but it's about City Hall or about public office.
Yeah.
I can see them doing that kind of thing.
That would make sense.
City H.
It's not bad.
Or straight up G-Man. This is terrible.
It is.
I don't think we've ever been more white than the last 30 seconds, but this is where I'm thinking they'll go with it. Maybe not. Maybe they'll just pick his name or something. I don't know. Alright, ABC, another entitled comedy. From Gabriel Iglesias and Ryan Seacrest. And this is cat, come on. Cat's on my lap.
This show is a cat.
Right. It'd be a good show if it was a cat. But it's focusing on a commitment-phobic bachelor who reconnects with his friend who has just broken up with the woman he has been with since preschool. And Iglesias is going to star in it as well, as well as being one of the producers.
Preschool?
Since preschool. Yeah, so somewhat, they're like 3 or 4. They've been friends since then. Presumably they started kind of dating somewhere later in school, and then they've been together. So I can see where this one works. It's like someone who's been in a relationship all the time, someone who's always been scared of it, and then them kind of helping each other out or whatever.
A happy medium.
Yeah. Is that a title suggestion? Happy medium?
Yeah, why not? They're really not giving us things that jump out, are they?
They're not. These descriptions are too vague for us to really...
Sometimes you get it as that's the one.
Oh, God. I'm trying to think of something that means, like, single for the first time. Because, if he's been with someone since preschool, he's never been single.
Is there a word for that?
don't think so.
I don't think there is. I think you're looking for a word that doesn't exist.
I think I'm trying to think of a phrase that means that, and it could, it could be witty. My cat's making noise in the background. He's really trying to sabotage this entire procedure tonight.
Nice.
All right, ABC again has greenlit a pilot from Diablo Cody and Greg Berlanti. Interesting pairing. And Berlanti doesn't usually do comedies, so this is... And not only that, it's based on a British series.
Oh?
It's called Raised by Wolves. Have you heard of this?
I have, yeah.
Oh. Pilot's written by Cody. It centres on Sheila Gable, a single parent and one tough mother. Joining Sheila are her dad and 5 offbeat kids as they try to survive on a shoestring budget in the Midwest.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty typical.
Cool. Yeah, exactly.
Family thing, a lot of kids. Mother's like, oh, so many kids, oh.
Yep.
I should have said no once or twice. Kind of comedy.
Probably.
Aye, 5's too many. I said that. My mother's the youngest of 16 kids, so clearly previous generations.
Yeah, my mother's the youngest of 7, which is still
far too much.
Yeah.
7 kids sounds like hell.
This show based here and now is going 5's pretty extreme. And with 7, 16, it's like, well, the 5's tame by comparison.
As an only child, I'm looking at 5 and going, oh, screw that.
I'm 3.
Jesus. Right, anyway, let's move on to everyone's favourite network. CBS has ordered a comedy. It's got... This has actually got a weirder premise for a comedy from CBS than you'd expect. It's called Me, Myself and I, right? It's a single camera comedy, and it explores one man's life over a 50-year span. The show will focus on 3 distinct periods. It's a 14-year-old in 1991, a 40-year-old in present day, and a 65-year-old in 2042. For CBS, that's a pretty out there premise.
That is.
I don't expect things that interesting sounding coming from CBS.
How I Met Your Mother was CBS, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that was just a framing device.
I mean, is that did a lot of similar things with time, where it would be obviously you had obviously the 2 main timelines of now, present day, versus him narrating, but then it would jump around a lot as well.
I'm not counting that, because that's a framing device, and then the actual jumping around a lot was just their thing. That's no different from, say...
No, but it would jump to the future quite a bit as well. Like, to the future from our perspective, but in between, like, when the framing one is.
This is still wackier, though. You're going to have 3 different actors playing the same guy. This is way wackier.
That's fair. I mean, it could be alright.
It could be. I don't know. CBS just makes me kind of lose interest before I even start reading it, to be honest, but it's a decent enough idea.
I don't think I lose interest at CBS single camera. If it says CBS multi-camera, alright, that's it, I'm out.
Well, I've already forgotten the name of it. Was that one we hated?
Great Indoors.
Great Indoors, that was it. God,
that was
damn
utterly atrocious.
Oh, I hated that so much. Alright, we're out of the dramas. We actually fired through those comedies quite quickly. I
think it's because a lot of them were either we'd talked about them before, or they were pretty vague. There wasn't that much to say about a lot of them.
Alright, well here's something else we talked about last week that has now had a pilot order.
Go on.
The X-Men TV show.
Oh, okay.
Not only that, Bryan Singer is confirmed to direct the pilot. Because he just can't get away from the X-Men, apparently. Because he got away once, went to make a Superman movie, it didn't do very well, and everyone was kind of annoyed at him for a while for dumping X-Men, and then let him back in, and now he just can't go.
Do you know what really kind of annoys me about this?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the actual characters were the weakest parts of all of his movies in the X-Men stuff. Like, I like a lot of the actual plots, I like the ideas, but the actual character dynamics often never really sat.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think it's a big deal that he's directing the pilot, because ultimately he's not going to be the one show running. He's not the one shaping what the the ongoing thing is going to be, how the character dynamics are going to work. He's just there to essentially point a camera.
He is, and I hope it is almost just that's all he's doing, because I don't know. Like I say, I really didn't like a lot what he did with the characters in his movies, and that's even more important on a TV level.
Yeah, I'm kind of ready to not have Bryan Singer involved with X-Men anymore, but it's just a pilot for a TV show. I don't think it's a big deal. But But yeah, this is the one that's focused on two ordinary parents who discover their children possess mutant powers, and they're forced to go on the run from a hostile government. And the family joins up with an underground network of mutants and must fight to survive. So that was the premise. We heard about this for the first time properly last week. Well, I say first time. It was the first time we got a plot synopsis. There was mumblings of an X-Men show on Fox for months and months and months.
A couple of years, I think, in various iterations.
Yeah. It's hard to tell, though, at what point was it a different show, though. And then
it was clearly at some point it was something else entirely.
Yeah. I'll admit, though, I kind of wish it wasn't. I mean, it sounds okay. It sounds fine. But I do kind of wish it was just X-Men. Like, because I feel like...
It feels like they're scared to do it, doesn't it?
Because I feel like the movies never... I really like First Class, and I fairly like a couple of the other ones to an extent. But I don't really feel like we ever got that real X-Men feeling. And by that I mean you've got something that's episodic and you're in the school and you've got this wide cast of characters who all have their own arcs. It never felt like we got to that point.
It's not. I actually think you can typify it down to like almost one little bit in the last X-Men movie where they go to the mall and then we see none of it.
Yeah, and I wanted to see them in the mall.
That's exactly what I would want on like if it was a TV show, we'd have gone, yeah, let's go to the mall for an episode. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. And we'd see young Cyclops and Jean and whoever else went and Nightcrawler, and then we'd see them hang out in the mall, and it'd have been fun. And I want that show.
That's what I want, yeah.
I want an actual X-Men show that's kind of like, I don't want to bring it up a lot, but you get like a Buffy show where you've got like a team of like heroes who have their mentor, which is Xavier instead of Giles, and they go and stop the bad guys, and that's kind of what I want that. And I feel like X-Men doesn't need to be movie budget. Like the powers are all pretty doable on TV.
They can even do it like, is it New Mutants? The one that's called, where it's the younger kids, and like just have. So you don't even need like Xavier. You can literally just get someone cheaper from one of the movies and go, all right, you're the teacher.
Yeah, but because I really don't think, like, because obviously in the last X-Men movie they had to do the big thing where there's a giant beam of light in the sky and the bridges are all coming up because it's apocalyptic. Because it was called Apocalypse, to be fair in that case, but
they kind of get away with that.
But so many of these movies have to do this, and like X-Men doesn't need to be this big. Like it can be a TV show. It feels like it's better suited to TV.
It does, which is why I said just even have it on these younger ones. So you don't have to have a lot of preconceived notions outside of hardcore fans. But given anyone who's seen the movies, which is more.
Yeah, but given how much they screwed up some of the characters, I almost just kind of wish, let's just start from scratch. Let's do the actual X-Men.
Yeah,
that said, though, I'm not down in the show. I'm hopeful.
It's just annoying because X-Men writes itself as a TV show.
It does, and
whereas
it's like they're avoiding
refusing. Like they lean into like you got Legion, but they're not really going to go into it in Legion, are they?
No, Legion looks good, but Legion looks like its own thing that's very standalone and whatever. And here
I bet this will be as well.
It probably will be, but it just, regardless of whether it is or it isn't, I almost want it to be standalone. I want it to just be X-Men, but. Even if it's not standalone, I don't really, whether it is or isn't, they're still going to avoid doing the core X-Men stuff because the movies have done it, even though they've not really done it. The characters are just there.
Yeah.
And they ruined Cyclops. They wasted him.
Yeah.
Jean Grey is like one of my favorite X-Men characters in the comics, and I feel like I never got her in the movie. I
definitely didn't get enough Kitty.
Yeah, there was definitely not enough Kitty. Kitty's also one of my favourites, and she was barely there. I don't know. The whole thing's just it's kind of this fumble thing where because it's one of the reasons why I get really annoyed at the DC movies right now. It's like, well, you hate them, but they'll eventually reboot, and I'm like, yeah, you're right, but at that point, what are they going to just say? No, we're not allowed to use that because that was in the last version.
And do you know what? Also, the problem is it's DC is going to have this problem, but X-Men has had it where they never wanted to do a hard reboot. They never left it alone long enough where they go, all right, let's forget all that and just start over. It was always so recent they went, we can salvage this. We can salvage this. Whereas alternatively, it didn't work out well, but Fantastic Four, for example, where they did the two movies, it was like, okay, that didn't work. Let's leave it a while. Let's try something else. Again, it didn't work again, but
it wasn't because doing a hard reboot was the wrong choice. It was just because everything else they decided after that was the wrong choice.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That was a bit of a tangent rant about wanting a proper X-Men show that they seem intent on not giving us, but hey-ho.
We will give you the money if you just make it.
Yeah, just basically a live-action version of the cartoon is essentially what I'm saying.
That's all everyone wants.
Yeah.
Idiots.
Anyway, alright, Fox has also ordered a pilot called The Passage, which is a 1-hour vampire drama. It's produced by Ridley Scott. The Passage begins as a character-driven government conspiracy thriller and morphs into a post-apocalyptic saga with vampires. The series spans over a century and focuses on a young girl named Amy who must save the human race. Given the way it says it morphs from one thing to the other, I'm assuming there's two timelines. I'm assuming there's like a present day start of the conspiracy stuff, but it'll cut between that and post-apocalypse. Because I feel
that, or it's saying this is where we'll be by the end of season 1.
You really think it's going to go 100 years in season 1?
No, I think it'll go. It could do like 8. Let's say it's a 10-episode season. I don't know what they've ordered it for, or let's say what they give it for.
Well, it's a pilot order.
No, I know, but let's say they did like later on a 10-episode order. They go, right, okay, here's the pilot, here's what this is, and there'll be little hints here and there, and then you'll get the 10 episodes, and you'll have the government stuff, and then it'll cut ahead. I don't know.
No, I mean, but it spans 100 years. Like, it'd be one thing if it set up the thing, and then at the end of the first season, oh right, the apocalypse has happened, and then we've kind of changed status quo for season 2. But the 100-year thing makes me think, it'll be two distinct.
Yeah, maybe then.
Here's the how it's happened. Here's what's going on now.
Yeah, makes sense.
Which sounds really interesting. It's very Van Helsing actually, which is on Sci-Fi.
Yeah, and I thought we were kind of done with vampires at this point.
No, this is the we're done with the pretty romance vampires, and we're trying to get back to something a bit more horrific.
Yeah, I'm all for that. But based on what we were just saying, I didn't realize it had been long enough that we could do that yet. Apparently it has.
It's kind of sad to think about, but the first Twilight movie's like nearly 10 years old at this point.
Yeah, but how old's the last one?
5 years?
Sounds about right. I don't know.
Hey, 5 years is all you need. That's all it took to reboot Spidey. Hell, it took even less time this go round.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, which like that was a quick 5 years.
So this one will be 4 years.
That long?
Oh no, it was 5 again because it's 2017. Oh no, it was 2014. So
I was thinking
3 years. It'll be 3 years this time. The last one was 5 years though, between Spider-Man 3 and Amazing
Spider-Man. Yeah,
which already felt quick. Might add.
It did feel quick. And now this is 3 years, man. They're really pushing it on these.
Who says we can't just completely reboot the DC universe in 2 years?
Yeah, just do it. Just scrap it all now and start a new one next year.
Well, if Wonder Woman and Justice League are train wrecks, and at the very least Justice League probably will be.
None of you go and see it. Do not give them money.
I approve of that message. Alright, CW now. This is one we talked about a while ago. Dynasty, their reboot.
Oh yeah.
They've officially ordered the pilot, and I'll just remind you what this is about. Interestingly, there's a word that pops up here that when this first came up, when it was in development, we were confused by the word wasp in all caps, and someone in the comments actually told. I don't know if you ever get told this.
I do remember, but I don't remember what it was. But I remember hearing about it at the time.
It's a white Anglo-Saxon precedent. So. It's an American term. I'd never heard of it. We were confused by what this wasp thing meant. But anyway, the modernised remake will follow two of America's wealthiest families, the Carringtons and the Colbys, as they feud for control over their fortune and their children. The primetime soap will be told primarily through the perspectives of two women at odds, Fallon Carrington and the daughter of billionaire Blake Carrington and her soon-to-be stepmother Crystal. A Hispanic woman married into the Wasp family and America's most powerful class, in an age where dynasties appear everywhere, from reality TV to polling booths. The drama will feature the 1% in all its glitz and gloss, while exposing the dark underbelly that is a corrupt world built on backroom shady deals. I added the word shady there myself. Backroom shady deals, betrayal, and in some cases, murder.
I really don't know if I care about this.
I don't think I do. The word soap just makes me run in the opposite direction.
Yeah, that was where I got to as well with soap. I was like, oh.
But then this last part, though, while exposing the dark underbelly that is the corrupt world built on backroom deals, betrayal, and in some cases murder. So it's a bit more interesting.
It does. And, I don't know.
I can see he's doing the pilot and being like, yeah, this is this is not almost cancelled material.
No, I feel like that is quite likely, actually, based off that description.
All right, next up, CW has ordered a pilot for Searchers, which is a show that we have talked about, but I don't think it had a name when we talked about it last.
Right, okay.
It was
And
untitled.
if we did give it a name, it definitely wasn't Searchers.
Greg Berlanti producing.
Of course it is.
Because he's taken over TV. Searchers is about a group of unlikely heroes who find themselves on a journey of a lifetime. 10 years after the death of their parents, a pragmatic brother and free-spirited sister are forced to team up when they learn that their mother's terrifying and bizarre stories may be a road trip to discovering the great legends, myths, and unexplainable mysteries of the world. And I remember the description being phrased differently, but it was essentially the same thing. It was like a brother and sister looking into myths that their mother told them about.
Yeah, I do vaguely remember
that. That sounds alright.
Yeah, I'm more interested in that than the last one.
Interestingly, I feel like the word dynasty will pop up a lot in that when they're talking about all these myths and
probably
things.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Alright, jumping over to ABC. They've that's actually a comedy pilot, but it's an hour long, which is why it's in this section. It's an hour long comedy.
Okay, don't see that many of those.
No, it's called The Trustee, and it's an hour long project. It's a fun female buddy cop comedy. The pilot follows a stubborn detective who finds an unlikely help from her precinct's trustee, a larger-than-life ex-con finishing out her prison sentence by doing menial tasks for the police department. Though the duo has completely opposing views on crime and punishment, a highly entertaining and successful partnership is born.
I mean, it sounds fine.
I like that they're saying it's a comedy, because I think if this was supposed to be a straight drama, I'd probably just sound bored by it. But I can see some kind of hijinks ensuing.
That's the thing, it sounds fine. It still sounds kind of generic, but that's not necessarily bad. I mean, if the comedy's there, then this could be fun to watch. But I don't think it's not reinventing anything, is it?
Yeah. ABC have also ordered a pilot for Doomsday, which
sounds like more my thing.
Is set in the aftermath of 9/11. I mean, it says that it doesn't mean it's set after back in 2001, 2002. It makes sense when I read the rest of it. It is described as telling the story of the US government's instituted secret think tank comprised of the most creative minds in science and entertainment, tasked solely with dreaming up man-made disaster scenarios and their possible solutions. The ideas they invented were so dangerous that the list was sealed and the program was shut down. But when a catastrophe occurs, ripped from the pages of their missing Doomsday book, the team is brought back together years later to prevent the disasters of their own making.
Oh, I like the sound of this. It's a disaster movie every week.
Yeah, so basically the idea is after 9/11, they got these people together to come up with all these possible things that people could do, all these disasters, and try and figure out solutions. They decide, oh, this is stupid, we're just giving all these things, all these ideas, so we're just going to lock it away. Should have burned the book, you tits. And someone's obviously found it, and they come back to try and solve it in present day. So
yeah, and they'll be like, oh, which one are they going to use next?
Yeah. Man-made disasters. I can see them being really... I mean, obviously there'll be some boring ones. There'll be realistic, oh, there's a bomb there, or there's this here. But are we going to get Lex Luthor-esque, oh, this is an earthquake machine?
I think we might, because it tells us, they were the really creative minds and stuff. So it could be kind of outside the box ideas.
I hope it's silly. Yeah.
This could be fun if it does play silly disaster movies every week.
NBC's ordered a drama pilot set in the world of virtual reality. It's called Riviera. I think I'm saying that right, yeah?
Riviera,
yeah. Sure. It's described as a grounded and dramatic thriller about a former detective specialising in human behaviour who is brought in when the launch of an advanced virtual reality programme has dangerous and unintended consequences.
Did we really need VR to leak into TV as well?
I'm cool with VR being a plot thing.
I guess. I'm bored by it. I want to go away.
Only because you don't want it in games.
Exactly, but I'm just bored by it in general now. So it's oh, great, more of it.
Yeah, even but we're working through Star Trek. Are you going to complain when we get to next gen and they're using the holodeck?
Yes.
Shut up. No, you're not. All right. I think it sounds potential.
Fine.
Yeah, it sounds it could be okay. NBC's hit and miss with the dramas, but it could be okay.
Yeah.
CBS has ordered a pilot for The Good Doctor, which
I already feel like I'm going to hate it based on CBS and the title.
is described as telling the story of Sean Murphy, a young surgeon with savant syndrome. She relocates from a quiet. Wait, is that she? Or is it he? Oh, it's he. Sorry. For some reason, I assumed she. Even though Sean's more typically a man's name, for some reason I just.
Yeah, I don't know why you did that.
I was thinking of Sean Young. I think. I don't know. Anyway, he relocates from a quiet country life to join a prestigious hospital's surgical unit. Alone in the world and unable to personally connect with those around him, Sean uses his extraordinary medical gifts to win over his skeptical colleagues and save the lives of the patients he deeply cares for. Boring!
Oh my god, I nearly fell asleep just listening to that.
I want nothing to do with it. It sounds generic as all hell on CBS. I don't want it.
It sounds like if you had to describe CBS, it's just that.
And I would probably go to a cop show first. I feel like they'd have more
as well, but
cop shows, but yeah.
yeah.
All right, CBS has ordered a pilot for The Get.
Tell me it's a cop show.
No.
Ah.
It's The Get is described as focusing on a team of tireless internet journalists as they pursue and expose stories of the injustice using their unconventional investigative techniques in today's anything-goes world of reporting.
I wish this wasn't on CBS.
Why does it sound interesting?
It does. I like that idea of, exploring the how journalism's changed and the different ethics and internet reporting versus print-based journalism.
But it's on CBS.
But it's on CBS.
It's basically going to be a cop show because it's going to be them
investigating crimes each week.
Yeah, using detective skills. Yeah. So even though it's not cops, it's basically cops.
Ugh.
CBS has ordered a pilot starring Alan Cumming, who's also producing it. Okay. It's called Dr. Death, which I like the title at least. So it's described as telling the story of a former CIA operative who has since built a normal life as a gifted professor and writer. He's pulled back into his old life when the NYPD needs his help to stop a serial killer on the loose. It is based on the soon-to-be-published book by James Patterson.
I'm pretty sure we've spoken about this before, actually, because this sounds very familiar. Maybe it's just because it's kind of CBS 101.
This is the first one where I legit don't remember. If this is one we have talked about before,
because it being based on the upcoming James Patterson book, I feel like we spoke about that in particular. But then again, he has like 6 books a year, so it could be another one I'm thinking of.
I remember all the other ones we spoke about today that we've spoken about before. I remember speaking about them. This one I don't. So, but that doesn't really mean anything because CBS is full of these generic sounding shows that
I didn't really. It was only when I got to the end where it said it was based on that book. I was like, we had one that was that, and that kind of fits that. Maybe it's generic enough that I'd have forgotten it specifically.
CBS has ordered a pilot for Perfect Citizen. Hey, I'll say this, at least they've gave names to all their shows, unlike the other networks. That's the one brownie point I'm going to give them. So Perfect Citizen is described after his involvement as a whistleblower in an international scandal, the former general counsel for the NSA embarks on a new career at a storied law firm in Boston, facing the reality of that while half the country thinks he's our greatest patriot, the other half thinks he's a traitor.
Again, this is something I'd maybe like the sound of if it wasn't on CBS, but I just feel like they're going to turn it into a legal drama.
Yeah, it's a legal drama, but everyone's going to think, oh, we don't like you because you leaked things.
Yeah, exactly. But again, that's something I'd like TV shows exploring that area of our culture, leaking and patriotism. Like those things are interesting as prisms to look through, but not as a CBS legal drama.
As a procedural, which it most likely is.
Yeah, exactly. It just makes it far, far less interesting.
Well, we have one last show, and it is the 5th in a row of CBS pilots.
Go on. Let them redeem themselves with the final one.
And I just praised them for titling everything. This one's untitled, the bastards.
Spoke too soon.
Oh, dear. So... Oh, God, that sounds so generic as well.
So that is like typically when you do your news, there's a pattern where once you get to CBS, they even get less interesting for CBS as they go on.
I know.
So it's like, oh, this is really going to be generic.
The untitled pilot centers around the lives of the entire... Oh, sorry, not entire. The entire of them. That's actually really funny. That'd be a lot of characters. The pilot revolves around the lives of the elite Navy SEALs as they train, plan, and execute the most dangerous, high-stakes missions our country can ask. That's it. That's your synopsis.
Oh my god, it's so generic they couldn't even think of a name.
SEALs. It's going to be called SEALs. Either that, or they'll pick an acronym that means something.
They'll pick an acronym, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what CBS always do, isn't it?
NSI, Navy Scene Investigation.
That's NCIS.
Yeah, true.
That's naval.
Is it? I've never seen it.
Naval criminal.
I even know it was the Navy. It's in that.
Yeah, well, they're not actually Navy. They just investigate the Navy.
Oh, right, okay. I've never seen NCIS.
Yeah.
I know there's like 3 of them, and we've had like 50 goddamn seasons between them, but I've never seen anything of it.
Yeah.
Alright. So, okay, we'll call it...
No, it will be SEALs, but that will be an acronym for something.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what yet, but that's what it'll be.
Special...
Elite
Aquatic... Lifesavers?
So close. Lost at the end. Please, in the comments, give us your acronym for what SEALs stands for.
Yeah. Isn't SEALs actually an acronym?
Probably.
I'm pretty sure it is.
But what will they use it for?
I'm pretty sure SEALs is an acronym. I'm convinced of it.
I mean, you may very well be right. I don't actually know. But then, I kind of hope it's not, and they just named it after the animal. It's like, it'll be cool.
Sea, air, and land. We sound like idiots.
Okay. That seems like cheating.
Yeah, where's the E coming from?
That's what I mean. They're cheating. They're just to make that a word.
Oh, because it's just C and then L. So sea, air, and land. Yeah, that's cheating. No, bollocks.
No,
bollocks.
that's what I mean.
I'm calling them out on that. No.
That's a shit acronym.
I don't approve. We need to fix it. Anyway,
we'll leave it to CBS to fix it for us.
that's the last of the news. Do you know what I love? I love that when we started that, they'll make it an acronym. It'll be SEALs, but it'll be an acronym. I just love that people watching this went, SEALs is an acronym!
But it's not a good enough acronym, is it? So they'll make it like a new acronym. And it'll be like, yeah, this is what SEALs is now, bitches.
I want them to call it Navy Sea Lions.
Why?
Because. Or Navy Starfish. Just pick a different animal. Pick a different water-based animal.
Dolphins. It's the Navy Dolphins.
Navy Dolphins. Navy Blue Dolphins. Oh, this is falling apart. That's all the news for this week. We're going to talk a little bit about what our favourite episode of TV was this week.
Oh, shit. What was my favourite episode of TV this week?
So unprepared.
I forgot what we've watched this week. Give me 1 second.
I can tell
I'm
you.
looking at it now.
We had the 4 DC shows. We had S.H.I.E.L.D. We had Riverdale, of course, was a new show. And that was everything. And Timeless, yeah. Timeless. So go on, take your pick, Connor. What was your favourite episode of TV this week?
I'm going to go with Arrow because it allowed me to get absolutely slaughtered. I'm kidding.
That's not a real answer, yeah. Give me another one.
No, I'm going to go with Legends of Tomorrow because that was such a fun episode back that I'd forgotten, and it was just a really nice thing to watch, which is sometimes enjoyable.
This is a tough week. There's a few things I could pick that are all kind of fighting each other, but I think I'm going to go with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Nice and twisty and turny. Has some good character moments. I think I'm going to go with S.H.I.E.L.D. I think I'm picking S.H.I.E.L.D. this week. But it was a close one.
All I learned is Tuesday nights are now fantastic.
Yeah, Tuesday nights. We're got 3 shows on a Tuesday, and we're soon to have 3 on a Wednesday as well. Which leads me to tell you new things or returning things next week. The Expanse Season 2 begins next week. We've got a double premiere for Season 2 on Wednesday, so that's something that's coming up. We also have the pilot for Training Day on Thursday, which I'm not particularly looking forward to, but I do like Bill Paxton, so small amount of hope.
Yeah.
But that's the new stuff before next news. 24 Legacy is next week, but it's the Sunday after the news, so I've mentioned it anyway. But
we'll get to that next week.
Yeah, but that's the new stuff coming up this week, TV wise. But no, that's us. I think we're done. I think that's another news show in the bag.
Yeah, it's a solid, amazing bit of conversation like every week, because it's never a shambles, is it, Pete?
Never. This is clearly the best thing we do.
It's the most professionally produced thing we ever put out.
Let us know what you thought of any of this week's news in the comments below. What of those pilots is interesting? Always curious. Like and subscribe and all that stuff. Get us on Twitter at mild_fuzz. Individual Twitters are on the screen. You can email us at mildfuzz@gmail.com. And that's it. So, thank you very much for watching. Keep watching TV. We're out.